All right, let's dive into the story of Enron, a company that was once the golden child of corporate America and is now the punchline of every accounting joke ever. If you've never heard of Enron, buckle up, because this story has everything: greed, corruption, and a plot twist so wild it makes soap operas look tame. Oh, and stick around, because we're also going to talk about the bizarre comeback attempt involving a so-called nuclear egg. Yeah, you heard that right. Let's rewind to the 1990s when Enron was at its peak. Based in Houston, Texas, this energy giant had its fingers in everything: electricity, natural gas, broadband. If it involved power, Enron wanted a piece of the pie. Led by their charismatic CEO, Jeffrey Skilling, and Chairman Ken Lay, Enron didn't just play the corporate game, they invented new rules. They were hailed as visionaries, pioneers of the new economy, and for a while they delivered. At its height, Enron was raking in billions, its stock price soaring to dizzying heights. Investors couldn't throw money at it fast enough. But here's the thing about Enron. Behind the glossy image was a financial house of cards held together with duct tape, accounting tricks, and a whole lot of audacity. They didn't just bend the rules, they broke them, set them on fire, and then said, "What rules?" Enron's executives used something called mark-to-market accounting, which basically let them record profits before they even made a single dollar. Imagine selling lemonade, and instead of waiting to see how many cups you sell, you just assume you'll sell 1,000,000 and call it a win. That's Enron math. But wait, there's more. When the numbers didn't add up, and spoiler alert, they never did, Enron's executives cooked up even more creative solutions. They hid billions of dollars in debt using shady partnerships and off-the-books deals. These shell companies, with names like Chuco and Jedi, yes, really, were designed to make Enron look like it was thriving while the reality was closer to, well, broke. The cracks started to show in 2001. Investors and analysts began asking questions, and suddenly, those glossy financial statements didn't look so shiny anymore. By December, Enron filed for bankruptcy, the largest in U.S. history at the time. Its stock, which had once traded at $90 a share, plummeted to less than $1. But don't worry, we're just getting started. Things are about to get even crazier. As Enron crumbled, the fallout was like a corporate apocalypse. Thousands of employees lost their jobs and pensions overnight. Imagine showing up to work one day and being told, "Oh, by the way, the company doesn't exist anymore, and your retirement savings? Yeah, those are gone too. Good luck." And let's not forget the investors who poured their life savings into Enron stock, thinking they were riding the gravy train to financial freedom. Spoiler alert, they weren't. So what exactly went wrong? Well, aside from everything, it came down to one thing: deception. Enron wasn't just bad at accounting, it was creative. They used a complex web of shell companies to hide their debt and inflate profits, making their financial statements look like something out of a fairy tale. And who was supposed to be keeping them honest? Arthur Andersen, one of the largest and most respected accounting firms in the world. Here's the kicker. Arthur Andersen didn't just fail to catch the fraud, they actively helped cover it up. When the scandal started to unravel, they shredded documents faster than a college student cramming for finals. This wasn't just a case of bad oversight, it was a full-blown complicity. And guess what happened to Arthur Andersen? They went down with the ship, losing their reputation and their entire business in the process. But let's talk about the Enron executives, because these folks weren't exactly remorseful. CEO Jeffrey Skilling, the mastermind behind most of the shady accounting practices, famously testified before Congress claiming he didn't know anything was wrong. Sure, Jeff. And I'm sure those private jets and million-dollar bonuses were totally earned. Ken Lay, the chairman and founding father of Enron, played the who-me card too, acting like he had no idea his company was imploding. Then there was Andrew Fastow, Enron's CFO, and the architect of those infamous shell companies. Fastow eventually cut a deal with prosecutors, spilling all the dirty secrets in exchange for a lighter sentence. And let's not forget the courtroom drama. Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison, Lay died of a heart attack before sentencing, and Fastow served 6 years behind bars. While the trials were happening, the rest of America was in shock. How could a company so big, so successful, fall apart so quickly? And what did this mean for other corporations? The fallout led to the creation of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, a sweeping piece of legislation designed to prevent future Enrons. Think of it as the government's way of saying, okay, we've learned our lesson, let's not do this again. Oh, but wait, just when you think the Enron story is over, along comes the Enron Egg. Fast forward to December 2024, and the Enron name makes a bizarre comeback. A parody group announced the Enron Egg, a supposed micronuclear reactor that could power homes for 10 years. Yep, you heard that right. The entire project was a satire, poking fun at Enron's legacy and corporate absurdity. And while some found it hilarious, others, especially former employees, weren't exactly laughing. By the time the dust settled, the name Enron became shorthand for corporate greed and deception. The scandal didn't just ruin a company, it shook public trust in big business and left a permanent scar on Wall Street. But even with the trials, the bankruptcies, and the reforms, the Enron story refused to fade quietly into history. Let's talk about the aftermath. Remember those thousands of employees who lost their pensions? Many of them had invested their retirement savings in Enron stock, believing the company's hype. While some received small payouts from class action lawsuits, it was a drop in the bucket compared to what they'd lost. Meanwhile, Enron's creditors scrambled to recover their funds, leading to a years-long process of liquidating the company's remaining assets. And what about the executives? Jeffrey Skilling, the face of Enron's collapse, served over 12 years in prison before being released in 2019. While his sentence was reduced for good behavior, public opinion wasn't quite as forgiving. Skilling tried to re-enter the energy sector after his release, which, let's be honest, is like someone crashing your party and then asking if they can DJ. Andrew Fastow, the former CFO, also attempted a comeback. After serving 6 years in prison, he emerged as a public speaker, warning others about the dangers of creative accounting. Because nothing says, "learn from my mistakes," like a PowerPoint presentation on how not to go to jail. Meanwhile, Arthur Andersen, the accounting firm that played a starring role in the scandal, didn't survive the fallout. Once one of the Big Five accounting firms, it was effectively dismantled after losing its license to practice in the U.S. Though parts of the firm were absorbed into other companies, its name became a cautionary tale for the industry. But the real legacy of Enron lies in the reforms it sparked. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act, passed in 2002, introduced stricter regulations for corporate governance and financial reporting. Auditors were given more independence, executives were held more accountable, and companies were required to be far more transparent about their finances. While critics argue the act didn't go far enough, there's no denying it changed the way corporations do business. And then, decades later, along came the Enron Egg. In December 2024, the infamous name resurfaced in the most bizarre way imaginable. A parody project claiming to launch a home-powered nuclear reactor shaped like an egg. The creators, known for their satirical antics, presented the Enron Egg with over-the-top claims about its safety and efficiency. While some saw it as a clever commentary on corporate greed, others found it distasteful, especially those still reeling from Enron's original collapse. The Enron Egg may have been a joke, but it served as a reminder of the company's lasting infamy. Decades after its fall, Enron remains a symbol of what happens when ambition and greed are left unchecked. It's a story that continues to captivate, not just because of the scale of the scandal, but because it revealed just how fragile trust can be in the corporate world. So, what's the takeaway here? Maybe it's this. If something sounds too good to be true, like, say, a company claiming billions in profits out of thin air, it probably is. Thanks for tuning in to Talescape. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that prove reality is sometimes